Good evening, Agile Acquisition Ambassadors, and welcome back to the Underground Digital Tiki Bar. It's Friday, and that means it's time for a special edition I like to call Agile Acquisitions and Alcohol. Because after a week of trying to fix IT in the federal government, who couldn't use a drink? So cheers. Okay, let's get started. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about a topic that I get asked all the time by agencies. Should we hire an Agile coach? Well, in general, I don't like generalities. So to answer this question, we have to break it down a little bit. First, what is a coach? Well, an Agile coach is like a soccer coach or a life coach. So when I think of a coach, I think my wrestling coach back in high school. I remember specifically one day after a match we just narrowly won in an otherwise undefeated season, the coach pulled the team together and he said, "You know, after that match, I didn't go in the locker room to smoke a cigarette. I went back there to puke because you make me sick." Now that's a coach. I mean, don't get me wrong. He was rough around the edges, but he saw the best in us and he pulled it out of us. He created an environment that forced us to change, that created growth. But the important thing is that growth came from within. We wanted to be better. We wanted to grow. Let's be honest, change is hard. Learning new skills from a coach on a team, in a sport, in an organization can be uncomfortable. And it's a coach's job to understand that and understand the environment and understand the vision of where you're trying to get to and provide a frame for which you can build on. They should be there in the best times and the worst times and always have a perspective that is broader than what you can see yourself. That's how they help you get better. So if that's what a coach is, what is it that a coach is not? Well, a coach is not a product owner, just like a coach is not a captain or a quarterback. They have the ability to see the entire field, the entire game, and offer a perspective that you can't get when you're on the inside. But they're not there to make the calls, run the meetings, or make all the major decisions on how things go. That's up to the folks on the field in the game. And they're also not CETAs. They're not there to sit at computers and write documents for you. They should review documents, absolutely. But more importantly, they should have the perspective, the samples, the templates, the ability to review and provide you with the support to create the things you need to create and make sure what you're creating is in line with best practices that match your situation. Because let's face it, the ideal and best approach isn't always the best approach for the situation and environment you're operating in. And they need to be able to see that and help you see that. But the reality is your organization will never grow if they're not the ones making the decisions and writing the documents and in control of their future. The coach is there to guide you, but it's your responsibility. And part of being a coach is experience. And this is really important to me. A coach should have experience deploying software using agile development methodologies in an environment that's similar to the environment you're trying to deploy in or similar to the environment you're trying to migrate to. They should. That doesn't mean they have to. Just like your kid's softball coach may have never played softball a day in their life, they're just the only parent willing to give up an hour every Thursday and Saturday every week, doesn't mean they're not good. Doesn't mean they can't bring out the best in people, in kids, in organizations, whatever situation you're operating in. But in my opinion, there's a depth of coaching that only comes from having obtained the scars and scrapes of having gone through the experience yourself firsthand. Deploying software in a similar environment is something that is difficult, not impossible, but difficult to learn just from books and classes and video blogs on a computer from some guy in his basement. So my answer to the question, yes, I think Agile coaches can be great, but it's important to find the right kind of coach for the environment that you're operating in and the needs that you have, and a coach that is focused on helping the organization grow the skills organically to be the best they can be. Okay, folks, that does it for this episode of Agile Acquisitions. If you're enjoying these videos, please leave a comment. Let me know topics that you'd like me to talk about. And of course, subscribe. And with that, cheers. Have a great weekend.